Okay, hello everybody. It is 9 o'clock on Wednesday, and we are doing our webinar on how to manage our time a little bit better so that we're not feeling so overwhelmed in our businesses. I am going to share my screen. Probably should have done that before I started, but you know. Okay, so I actually named it a little bit differently. I named it mindful time planning because sometimes I hear the word time management and I feel like we don't need to be managing our time necessarily. It's more of like, I just like to, time doesn't have to be this thing that we're against. It can be something that is very helpful and something that there is an abundance of time because we've got as much of it as we do until we are no longer on this earth. So we're more like planning and just being really mindful about how we go about our days. So we're going to talk about how to time block to encourage a more graceful day. So what is time blocking exactly? I actually looked up the exact, how did I do that? There we go. I looked up the exact definition, but I'm seeing right now that all of the videos that, I don't know if you guys can see this, but all of our videos are kind of blocking my side, so I can't exactly read it. But from what I can gather from my screen that I see, it says, instead of working by the clock, you can focus on finishing big and small tasks one at a time. This will help you to limit distractions, get things done faster, and leave you less overwhelmed by lengthy to-do lists. So time blocking is like a magic trick for me. I love to look at my day, and I did ask you guys to write down what your typical day looks like so that you can, I'm gonna help one of you just as an example on how to time block. But what you do is you basically look at your day and all the time that you have. There's a chunk of time for work, like if you work full-time already at another job, maybe you work part-time somewhere, evenings, weekends, whatever that looks like for you, there's that time block chunk. So around all of that, you want to fit in your doTERRA business. Where does that fit in for you? So what we're going to do is tonight we're going to look at different ways that you can kind of time block and what you can do within those time blocks. So that just means blocking a certain amount of time off of your schedule and you're focusing on one single thing. And actually something, we just did a live webinar tonight, Jennifer and I, and one thing that she does, which I don't know why she never told me this before, but I thought it was brilliant. She does something called time quoting. So she was using an example of, let's say the laundry. You're saying, okay, I have so much laundry to do tomorrow, it's gonna take me all day. But when you really break down laundry, how much actual time is it taking you to do the laundry? You're literally taking it to the laundry room, which is like downstairs in your basement or whatever. You're putting all your laundry in, and then you're turning it on. That takes probably 5, maybe 10 minutes, very max, which 10 minutes would never take. Then you go back and you do something else. Then an hour later, you switch it to the dryer, 2 more minutes. Then you go and do something else. Then later on, you pull it all out and you put it away, maybe 20 minutes. The laundry, depending on how many loads you do, probably takes you less than an hour, but in your head, you're thinking, this is gonna take me all day. So when you actually quote the time to do something, it makes a huge difference because now you're not thinking in, oh my gosh, I need 4 hours or 6 hours to do laundry. No, you don't, you need an hour. And in between the 6 hours that the hours are going by for the laundry, you can do other little things in there too. So it is all about the mindset. That is basically what I wanted to get through there. It's just all about how you're thinking about time. And the more we think, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, the more real estate is taken up in our minds on that particular task. So maybe there's something that you're really trying to avoid. Maybe you have a person you really wanted to approach or somebody who's asked you to call them about essential oils, but you're worried about it or you're nervous to approach them in some way. That takes up so much real estate in your head, in your mind, and creates this mindset of crazy busyness because this huge, heavy task is sitting on your head right now. So if you can just kind of open that space up, and that's what we're going to talk about now, that will help you tremendously, where you're not going to feel overwhelmed with this business. You're not going to be feeling overwhelmed with life. You're going to have time with your family, with your kids, husband, boyfriend, whoever it is. It's going to be a lot more clearer. So I want to start giving you an example of what my days look like. So this is kind of what I was hoping you guys would do tonight for your homework. Write down all the things that you have to do in a day and what that looks like for you. And then we're going to kind of work through what time blocking looks like. So in my day, before I started time blocking, I'm like, okay, I've got doTERRA, I have dough planner, I produce Veggie Fest Hamilton, and I'm homeschooling. I need time for me and my husband and for myself at some point in time. In my head, I was so overwhelmed with thinking, how on earth can I manage any of this? It was just so stressful. But when I started time blocking, the trick to this also, aside from the actual time blocking, is when you're in that time, don't think of anything else. So this is a big one. Self-care, I do first thing in the morning because that works best for me. Some people, they do it in chunks throughout the day. Some people like that at bedtime. I take 1 hour for myself, and that looks like I wake up, I do meditation, I do yoga, I'll write in a journal, do some professional development by reading a book. And that is what I do for that first hour. I have my water, I take my supplements, make myself a really awesome smoothie. I'm obsessed with smoothies. And then at 7 a.m., I am ready to work. Now 7 a.m. comes around. My kids don't usually wake up until 7:30 or 8. When they do wake up, they know they can watch a show, they can make their own breakfast now. So 7 a.m. is mommy's work time. I sit and I work, and I am focused. I'm not thinking about homeschooling. I'm not thinking about the boys needing anything. I'm not thinking about anything except I'm getting this amount of work done. And in a minute, we're going to talk about what your work schedule would look like, what to do during that work time. Then 8 a.m. is my breakfast prep for homeschool. I'll often do mentor calls around that time. And then 9 o'clock is homeschooling for me. I used to, and this is what made me feel so overwhelmed. I used to be thinking while I was with my boys, oh my gosh, like I have this to do. I have to call this person back. I can't forget to do this, da, 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 da. And I was not present. And it's that moment of being mindful and being present in the moment that is what will make a huge shift for you in not feeling overwhelmed and in being able to manage your time well and feeling like you've had enough time for yourself and feeling like you've had enough time for your business and feeling like you've had enough time for your family. You time block and then you make nothing else matter but what you are doing during that time. So the rest of my day, lunch, then I tidy up, I do an hour of work. Again, I chunk it in 15-minute times. Another key to chunking is using your phone. So set a timer for 15 minutes, do one thing for 15 minutes, whether that is contacting new people, asking people to host a class for you, following up with people, connecting with people who have already purchased from you and see if they need any support. Whatever that looks like, chunk things in 15-minute intervals, and once your timer goes off, then you're done. And you move that to another time if you need to finish it up. And then after dinner, we do family time. And then again, around 7 o'clock, I tend to work until 9 or sometimes 10. And then we wind down, we watch a show or something on YouTube, like some motivating thing. And then by 11, I'm sleeping. So I can get up again at 6 and do that same thing over again. Now, of course, no day looks exactly like this every single day. But generally speaking, I stick to this schedule like almost always. And it is insanely helpful. So let me see, was I going to, okay. So before I do this, actually, I think I want to call on one of you guys and we're going to time block for one of you live so that everybody can kind of see what that sounds like and what that looks like. So Dritzy, you and I did this last week, so it won't be you. But between Nicole, Mar, and Angela, I know you were struggling with time. Do you want to be the person to do the example with me right now?
I feel like I'd be a bad example because my whole life changes every single day.
Perfect. You're the perfect example.
Okay, deal.
Okay. Do you have a pen and a paper? Because I don't. And
I don't.
No. Okay, and we'll just do this on the fly. Okay.
Okay.
So what time do your kids wake up?
So it ranges anywhere between 5 a.m. and 6:45.
Okay, and what time do they go to bed?
Anywhere between 7 and 8:30.
And what time do you go to bed? 8:31.
But anywhere between 8 and 11.
Okay. Oh, so you have a wide range. So it just depends on the day again, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what is most important to you right now? So what things are you feeling like Okay. Are you just feeling like general overwhelm, or are you feeling like you're not getting enough of one certain thing or too much of something? Where do you feel right now?
With regards to,
With regards to like fitting in your doTERRA business and things, do you not have enough time for yourself, or do you have lots of time for yourself? Like, where are you?
I have very little time for myself, and my daughter has gotten progressively more needy and clingy. So I don't even have time for self-care, let alone the business very much.
Okay, so we need more self-care. Remember, guys, if you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of anybody else in this business, right? This is a healing business. We want to be able to take care of others and help them, but you cannot pour from an empty cup. So self-care then is what we're going to look for in your schedule right now, Angela.
Okay.
So on a typical, and I know things probably aren't always typical, but on a typical day, you only have Bellamy during the day because Leo is at school for the week anyways.
That's
right?
what it should be, yes.
Yes, when he's not. Okay, and then Bellamy, does she take a nap?
Yes.
Okay, and what time does Steve get home?
Well, he's been doing overtime, so 5:45.
Okay, so and you guys want family time too? Or do you feel
Well, this is our family time right now. My husband's cleaning behind me.
I see him. Live on this recording. Quality time. We were planning for you guys right now to have better family time than that. Okay, so if we look at your time when the kids wake up, they're still small. So for anybody who's watching this webinar later, the recording, anybody on now who doesn't know Angela well, she's got two very small children, and this is honestly the trickiest time in life is when you have very small children and happen to be that's when things get a little crunched. So any amount of time is always good time as long as you're making it quality. So when Bellamy goes to sleep, you should take like even 15 minutes to just, and again, like that can be any time during her nap, 15 minutes, and you do something for you. Do something that fills your cup, but do it mindfully. I promise you guys, when you do something mindfully, it will make a huge difference. Even eating mindfully. We're often so like eating on the go or trying to like talk to somebody or like call or like watch television. Like eating mindfully is something that we've kind of lost in our society. But even taking that time to like think of how a pizza is made and how long it's taken, and just preparing it yourself and giving it love, that in itself is self-care if you just look at it a bit differently, right? So taking 15 minutes for yourself to do self-care work, and that could be whatever that is. And starting her nap off with that. So as soon as she goes down, you bless yourself with 15 minutes of self-care. And for other people, it can be longer. For other people, maybe it's only 5 minutes. There's some amazing like 3 to 5 minute meditations that just get you so deeply breathing and calm that it just like fills you up, even just a small 3 minutes to even do something like that. You can absolutely fit in your self-care in that time. So what time does she go down for a nap?
Anywhere between, actually, you know what, lately she's gotten into a little bit more of a routine around like 11 or 11:30. She tends to crash.
And then how long does she sleep for?
Between 45 minutes and 3 hours.
Okay, so self-care is always first. Then after that, or if you want to before, you can sit down at your computer and do 15 minutes of chunked work time. So spend 15 minutes on Mondays, 15 minutes of follow-ups. Tuesdays, it's 15 minutes of contacting people. Wednesdays, it's 15 minutes of prep, or maybe that's Mondays, you do prep time for any class you have throughout the week. You can take those 15-minute chunks, and then after work, then do self-care, because you're calm now, because you're not thinking about, I have to get work done,
Right.
Honestly, like 15 minutes, you can crush it in 15 minutes. I put this webinar together in 15 minutes. I was like, oh my goodness, I need something to show them. So I had already had this schedule made up, otherwise it would have taken longer, but I did totally put this together in 15 minutes. So it's just a matter of being focused, hyper-focused in the time that you do have. So then when Bellamy's awake, Do you ever have time to, like, will she play on her own or anything, or she's 100% on you right now?
I can sometimes sneak away for like 10 or 15 minutes, but that's normally to like eat or pee or like get myself dressed or
Also,
I don't know, wash a dish.
Perfect. Carrier, put her on your back. Do calls with people with her in a carrier. Like I used to do that with Cruz all the time. That kid was in a carrier till he was. I
would love to. It's just that I'm so exhausted with the one on the front that I don't want to stick one on the back as well.
I forgot you were preggo.
and I mean, I know that sounds really awful, but I get up like almost every 2 hours because I can't sleep. Yeah. So I'm always so exhausted by her nap time that I put her in her crib and then I just go into my bed and that becomes sleep time.
And that's important too. Like at this point in your life, it's really, really, it's a harder time to manage to get things through. But
yeah,
having Steve help in that
3 months.
And when he gets home, to give you an hour, even if that was just for yourself, like mothering is the hardest thing, and I don't think people understand it until they've actually been there and done it. To actually get, like, if you've done this every day, all day long for like a month, then you can start to understand what that feels like. Sometimes it can be very isolating. Sometimes it can be like you've not spoken to an adult in forever and you just need that time. So make it really clear, and everybody watching, like, make it really clear if you have a spouse, make it clear to them that you need that time and you deserve that time. Every one of us do. And they can have some super quality time with their children if you have kids, and spend that time with them too, while you take an hour for yourself. And whatever that needs to be for you at that time is what it needs to be. So generally speaking, and I know, Angela, it's so different for you because
I know.
Like, everything goes all over the place with with you being pregnant and everything and needing that time for
I know. Especially because tonight I was like, okay, I'm doing like a bath and then I can focus on myself. And then my son came home and was like, I'm sick, and then would puke tonight. So I was like, all the plans I had still got thrown out. So I have to be very flexible with my children.
Yes, and that's totally understandable. So in your day, if you're even, like I said, just even able to throw in those 15 minutes here and there, and that's all you need, just little chunks of time and focus time. And if Bellamy every 2 hours will sit for 10 minutes on her own, you take those 10 minutes and you throw in your work there if you need to take a nap when she's napping, right? So all of those things, it's just a matter of like managing it in a way that works for you and your family, and a way that will still allow you to get everything you need for yourself, as well as what you need to do the smaller things and the daily habits within our business. So thank you for sharing your days, Angela.
You're welcome. Thanks for helping me walk through it. And you're right, that just even thinking about doing 10 or 15 minutes is way less like daunting than thinking I don't have an hour to sit down and do this stuff. I don't have the time because I need a block. But if I can break it up into that little, like, 15 minutes I'll just do this and 15 minutes I'll just do that, then it makes it less overwhelming. So thank you.
You're welcome. And even that time coding Jennifer talked about, like, sometimes we look at our list of things to do and we're like, wow, I have to follow up with the 6 people from the class last night, and I have to call this person, and then I have to send this email out. And it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. How long does it actually take to follow up with 6 people? You copy and paste an email 6 times. It takes you, like, it's definitely less than a minute per like, right? So it's like 6 minutes, you got those 6 follow-ups done. So, like, quoting that time and making it real is really easier to kind of to see how it can all kind of fit in your day. Okay, so thank you, Angela. Does anybody else have questions, or does anybody else want to mention anything about their schedule, what theirs looks like, or need help with how they can maybe manage? Or did that make sense to everybody? Give me a thumbs up if you're with us. Yeah, all right. Okay, so I love this quadrant. So this is called the time management quadrant. And basically what it explains is when we are chunking our work time. So now we're looking at when we are actually working. So we just talked about what our life time blocking can look like. But now when we are actually having those work time blocks, what do we want to be doing? So there are 4 quadrants. The first one is something that is urgent and important. So these are tasks that need your attention immediately. What we want to do though is we want to reduce these types of tasks. So this could be a task like, let's say somebody calls you because they were using the doTERRA face mask and they took it off and their face is all red. They're calling you like 20 times because it's urgent and it's important. Like it needs your attention right now. Well, you need to then explain to them, well, how this works is with the mask, it brings the clay brings the blood to the surface to reduce the toxins and pull the toxins out through your skin, which makes it more pink because the blood has been brought to closer to the surface. Well, how could we have avoided that conversation? Probably if we had done some previous work, which is not urgent but important, quadrant 2, in telling people before when they buy that mask, or educating our people that when you're using this mask, just be sure to know that this is maybe what happens. So quadrant 1 are the tasks that we definitely want to reduce. So we don't want to have like, having to put out fires everywhere, right? So that brings us to quadrant number 2, which is not urgent but important. So these are the things that are the habitual things that we want to do because they will reduce the important and urgent things that end up on our to-do list. So these are the types of things we want to increase. So we want to increase our customer support. We want to always be doing the daily tasks of contacting and following up with people. Those are the habits that will create sustainability in our business. It'll help us to move forward and be successful, but it will also help to reduce those urgent and important things that might pop up during our day that cause distractions for us when we're trying to work. And quadrant number 3 are things that are not important, but that are urgent. So again, like a phone call from your mom asking you what you had for dinner, that's urgent because the phone is suddenly ringing. So you're distracted by it because it's something that's seemingly urgent, but it ends up not being important. So these are things that we really want to manage. And how we can manage that, like I said, is when you're time blocking and you have that set time for work, do something like putting your phone on airplane mode. I know that's a trick that Ange Peters taught us at a training once. And I've done that a few times since then. And it's, again, like it's one of those things that just makes you focus. You're not getting texts. Like even right now, I see my phone is going off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close it. See? Not important. And so, and I hope none of you guys were just texting me right now. I love you all. Anyways, so it's not important, but it seems to be urgent. We want to manage those tasks when we're actually focusing on our work. And then the 4th quadrant are things that are not urgent and not important. And those are the things that are time-wasting activities that we do not want to be doing when we are having our work time, like scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, or sending text messages back to people who are just like chit-chatting, right? Like we want our work time, that time management, we want our work time to be mostly in quadrant 2. So those are the things that are going to be important for us to do, while not urgent, but they are important for us to do in our daily business. Now, this is an example of how I break up my work and what my time kind of looks like, to give you a bit of an example. So in the morning is when I really like to get all my emails done. So I'll do my contacts and my follow-ups during that time. Even if I only had 15 minutes, if we had to go somewhere or something, I will just do that first thing in the morning. That's the most important, because that is what is going to keep us moving forward. And then they'll reply to me at some point during the morning or the afternoon or evening, and then I can get back to them later on when I'm back at work. If I don't have a chance during the day, then it will be after 7 o'clock once my kids are kind of playing just before bed. In the afternoon, what I tend to do for the hour where I said that I time block like 15 minutes, so what I'll do is I'll prioritize all the items that have to get done today. So those are also things that are important and not necessarily urgent, although, making this slide was certainly urgent because I had to have it ready for tonight. But those things are what I will work on first. Is making sure that I have all the important things that have to get done today. And then after that, it'll just be things that can get done today or tomorrow or sometime in the week. And then when I look at the things that have to get done today, I look at the one thing that I don't want to do the most, and I start with that. So there's a theory out there that basically says once you get that hard thing out of the way, everything else seems easy, right? Some people do it the other way around, and they get all the easy things done first, so it looks like they've checked off more spaces on their box, right? Like, I did this and this and this and this. So it just depends on you and what you feel like works best for you. Then in the evening, I'll work through my list until things are done. And before I go to bed, or just as I'm finishing up my work in the evening, then I'll make a list of the things that I need to do the next day. So maybe it's some of the non-important things that I didn't get done. I'll put that in my dough planner for the next morning. And then using my dough planner too, this is just a dough planner trick. I like to circle the times if I have an appointment or if I have a class or whatever it is, a one-on-one, like let's say 1 o'clock, I have a wellness consultation. I'll circle the 1 o'clock and I'll write wellness consultation with so-and-so. And then the rest of that day I use to write down my to-do list. So if I have a mentor call or something, I'll circle the time where I have a mentor call so I know during that time I'm doing something. And then all the other lines are just plopped in for my to-do list, basically. This is an important thing to remember is that what work looks like to you is going to differ rank to rank. So what I just told you might not look anything like what you're going to be doing right now, depending on what rank you're at, whether you're starting, whether you've been doing it for 20 years, which is impossible, but you know what I mean. And so everything's kind of going to look a little bit different depending on what rank you're in, whether you have a larger customer base or not, like it's smaller and you're just starting off, like you're going to be doing different things. So just remember that as we go over this little table here. So take a screenshot of this, you guys. This is how you can use your time to best grow your business. So these are some ideas that you can use in your day. You can print this off even. Maybe I should make this like a printable thing. And then you can keep that like in your dough planner. So if you're sitting down to work and you're like, oh, I don't know what I have to do today. What can I do? So here are some things. Teach a class. Reach out to a customer and offer their support. Get up some product knowledge. So that's like checking out doTERRA's blog, researching one of the oils, maybe researching one of our newer oils, or going onto the doTERRA YouTube channel and watching some product knowledge on there, or watching the Empowered Life series. Going through doTERRA University, like the Live, Share, and Build. There's tons of information on there, like tons. So product knowledge is never a hard thing to find. Ask a customer, a happy customer, for a referral. That's always a really great way to boost some extra business too, right? Like get more oils into people's homes by asking people for referrals. Responding to your emails, doing 2 follow-ups every day, reaching out to an organization to offer customer service and just connect and make a partnership maybe. Doing a one-on-one, attending a training, doing 2 new contacts every day, enrolling somebody, self-development, doing a wellness consultation, talking to somebody about the business, and just in general, just taking action in your business. So the best thing you can do, especially Angela, for somebody like you, is to do the most income producing activities in the very minimal amount of time you have. So if you do not have a lot of time, anybody out there who's watching, if you are struggling for time, just do the most income producing things at that moment. So that's not like posting something on Facebook. That is connecting with a person who's been interested in oils for a while and getting them enrolled and starting them on their oil journey. So those are the best ways that you can grow your business. So as I finish up, I just want to leave you with this affirmation that time is abundant and I choose to spend it wisely. Ooh, 9:30 on the dot. Look at that. That was fun. So does anybody have any questions about anything that we went over, or anything that they want to say about time management, or how are you guys feeling with all that information? Yes. Oh, Nicole, I can't hear you.
All right. So one thing that I recently heard from somebody is if you make your bed every day, like in the morning, that kind of gets you going. It's like a Kickstarter for the rest of your day to like motivates you to get things done every day. Yeah.
I believe in that totally. That is that's a good point. Does anybody else feel that way when your bed's not made? You're like a disaster. Yeah. I love that. Thanks for sharing that, Mar. Nicole, I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah, Jyoti, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So something that I can tell is I worked with this with Monica last week because I had a huge breakdown with my time. For all of you probably know me, but for the ones who know, I have a full-time job. I have 2 little kids and my business, plus a husband. And every single part of my life was pulling me into different sides, and I felt pretty overwhelmed. And after doing this with Monica and going through this exactly, my life just shifted so amazingly. Like honestly, I'm another person. Like
Yay!
freaking out, crying, thinking like I don't know how I'm gonna resist this, or I'm gonna lose my job, I'm gonna lose my health, or I'm gonna lose my mind, to a place that I'm again enjoying what I'm doing.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's just like doing these little things. Yeah.
It really is a mindset shift, honestly. It's so, when you just break it down really easily, things just seem a lot less overwhelming. I'm so glad that it's worked for you. Thank you for sharing. Nicole, do you want to try again?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. No, I was just asking if we can get like a copy of what you showed.
Yeah. I'll
Slides?
make it into a PDF. I'll make this whole presentation into a little PDF so you guys can all have it. I'll post.
Yeah.
I'll post
Okay,
it.
'cause I really like the idea of just how you broke it down, and
Yeah.
my biggest thing is just trying to be mindful, and like I'm always rushing around doing stuff, but I've been trying to practice that for so long, so it's a slow process, but it's getting better.
Good. And that's it. It's just, it takes time, right? It just takes a lot of time. But you'll get there, and give yourself a few weeks or a few months, and you'll look back and be like, okay, like I'm much more mindful than I used to be. So it just takes a bit of time.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was really, really helpful.
Thank you guys for joining me tonight. And this was recorded, so I'll be posting it so you guys can watch it again if you need to. And then once I post it, I'll also post the PDF underneath it so that you guys have access to that too, okay?
Awesome.
Have a
good night. Bye, guys. Thanks
Bye, everybody.